Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University. School of Agriculture, SOA. Diploma in Fish Products Technology, DFPT. BPVI 041 Introduction to Fish, Processing, Packaging and Value Addition. Block-1, Unit-1 Introduction to Fisheries, 1.0 Objectives. After reading this unit, you will be able to summarize the basic information on fish and fisheries of India, explain fish production and marketing, recognize the fish industry, and analyze fish exports and trade. 1.1 Introduction. You know very well that fisheries sector plays an important role in the food security of India. It also supplies valuable animal protein to people of India. Fishing has been an ancient traditional employment to coastal people and fish. Trade brought India nearer to Western world years ago. India has a vast coastline and inland water bodies and is the home for a variety of fish species. The fish production potential of our country is over 9 million metric tons and the present production is over 6.4 million metric tons. The coastal fisheries have been fully exploited, whereas the deep-sea fishery resources are awaiting our usage. Do you know that there is large untapped potential in fisheries and aquaculture that can contribute considerably to improve the livelihood and also women empowerment in the marine sector? In this unit, all these aspects on Indian fisheries are discussed in detail. 1.2 Fish and Fisheries of India. You will be surprised to know that fisheries of the Asian region have been drawing increased attention in recent times as an avenue for food and nutritional security, livelihood and employment. Asia's contribution to the world fisheries has been significant. The Asia-Pacific region produces almost 50% of the world's fish from capture and over 90% from aquaculture. The world catch of fish fluctuates around 80 to 85 million tons. 1 million equals 10 lakhs, 1 ton equals 1000 kilogram. Of these, the production from Asia-Pacific region totaled 46.7 million tons, MT. In 2004, India held 7th position among the top 10 fish-producing countries of the world in 2004. While China tops aquaculture production in terms of quantity, India stood second in 2007. India has a long coastline of 8,129 km, 2.02 million square kms, of Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ, and a large area under estuaries, backwaters, and lagoons. The inland fishery resources include reservoirs and lakes, 2.90 million hectare, ponds and tanks, 2.25 million hectare, rivers, 29,000 kilometers, beels, and derelict waters, 1.38 million hectare, irrigation canals and channels, 0.12 million hectare, and paddy fields suitable for fish culture, 2.30 million hectares. Along our coastline, a large number of finfish and shellfish are exploited. There are also regional differences in the distribution and availability of species within the country's EEZ. Over the past half a century, the sector has grown to the level of an industry with a fleet size of 180 large mechanized vessels, 55,000 small mechanized vessels, 33,000 motorized vessels and 166,000 artisanal units, a workforce of over 6 million people and a flourishing export trade of over 6,000 crores annually. 1 crore equals 100 lakhs. Indian seafood export during 2007-08 was 541,700 tons valued at rupees 7,620.92 crore. Frozen shrimp was the major item of the export amounting to 52% of the total export. The annual marine fish production is fluctuating around 2.7 million tons. The fish production through capture is believed to have stabilized and in some instances, the landings have been showing declining trend. While the inshore stock has been fully exploited, some resources like oceanic tuna, sharks are not fully exploited. Vide the marine census conducted recently, there are 3,202 marine fishing villages. A total population of 3.52 million fishermen lives in 7.6 lakh households. Marine fisheries sector is providing employment to about 10.25 lakh fishers involved in actual fishing, in which about 80% are in the traditional sector, Fig. 1.2. The post-harvest sectors of marine fisheries employs about 12 lakh people, both in domestic and export markets. The Indian seafood industry had a humble beginning. It started in the early part of the 20th century with the export of dried fish to Sri Lanka, Burma, Singapore, Hong Kong etc. In the 1950s, the country started export of shrimp and fish. From this stage, India has risen to a leading exporter of seafood products, fetching a high amount of foreign exchange. A major share of the fish production of the country was utilized in the fresh condition. Salted as well as dried fish, using the traditional methods, were the only sources of fish preservation and storage in earlier times. With the advent of the importance of export of marine products, modern fish product development and value addition spread well, you will be happy to know that in recent years there has been a diversification in export of items like frozen squid, cuttlefish and a variety of other items. Major markets are USA, Japan, Belgium, Italy, Thailand, Korea, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore and Malaysia. As far as domestic consumption is concerned, a drastic change in the pattern of utilization of fish can be noticed, with a steep rise in the quantities of fish eaten fresh and a steep fall in the consumption of cured fish. The fisheries development in India was due to the vision of Dr. Bena Prasad, the great Indian scientist. However, it was Dr. N.K. Panikkar, world-renowned oceanographer, who set up all the national laboratories like Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, SIFT, Integrated Fisheries Project, IFP, Central Institute of Fisheries and Nautical Engineering Training, CIFNET, and National Institute of Oceanography, NEO, in the country. 1.3 Fisheries Research and Development. You will be happy to know that the fisheries sector saw a rapid growth after 1947. The 5-year plans gave specific inputs for strengthening the social and economic structure of traditional fishermen. These plans also gave stimulus to industrial, scientific and technical developments in this field. It was during the first and second plans, mechanization of fishing started. The major contribution was given by Norway by starting the Indo-Norwegian project under the then Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Mechanization of fishing crafts, introduction of new fishing gears and fish processing also started during this period. These periods saw the setting up of a chain of national institutes in fisheries sector. They are listed below. 1. Exploratory Fisheries Project, Mumbai, EFP, 1946. 2. Central Inland Fisheries Research Institute, Barakpur, West Bengal, CIFRI. 1947. 3. Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, Mandapam, Tamil Nadu, Novad Kochi, CMFRI, 1947. 4. Indo-Norwegian Project, later Integrated Fisheries Project, recently renamed National Institute of Fisheries, Post-Harvest Technology and Training, Kochi, IFP, 1952. 5. Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, Kochi, CIFT, 1957. 6. Central Institute of Fisheries Education, Mumbai, CIFE. 7. Central Institute of Fisheries and Nautical Engineering Training, Kochi, CIFNET, 1963. 8. Marine Products Export Development Authority, Kochi, MPEDA, 1972. 9. National Institute of Oceanography, Panji, NIO, 1966. The Exploratory Fisheries Project is now renamed as Fisheries Survey of India. All institutes, except MPEDA and NIO, were created by the Ministry of Agriculture. MPEDA is now under the Ministry of Commerce and NIO under the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. The Agriculture Ministry in 1967 created an organization called Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, as an autonomous organization by an act of the Parliament to cater to agricultural research and education. The management of CIFRI, CMFRI, SIFT and CIFE were then transferred to the ICAR. The ICAR subsequently created 4 more research institutions in the fisheries sector. They are given below. 1. Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, Bhubaneswar, Orissa, CIFA. 1987. 2. Central Institute of Brackish Water Aquaculture, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. CIBA, 1987. 3. National Research Center for Cold Water Fisheries Research, Bhimtal, Uttaranchal, NRCCWR, 1988. This institute is now a directorate. 4. National Bureau for Fisheries Genetic Resources, Lucknow, UP. NBFGR. 1983. The Central Institute of Fisheries Education, CIFE, Mumbai, Maharashtra is now a deemed university under ICAR catering to fisheries education in India. 1.4 Global Fish Production and Utilization. Let us now get an overall idea on the trends in world fish catch and their utilization. 1.4.1 Production Trends. Fisheries of the tropical regions of Indian and Pacific Oceans showed a marginal increase in fish production, FAO, 2006. But temperate Northeast, Atlantic and Mediterranean seas did not show this pattern. the fishery has shown lesser landings compared to past. Many important fish stocks showed a decline in production, possibly due to overexploitation. During the last 4 years, fish production has shown a plateau, indicating that not much increase can be expected globally in the years to come. Any further demand for food fish has to be met by aquaculture. World fish production from aquaculture in 2006 was 51.65 million tons, China accounting to 70%, FAO, October 2008. In terms of value realization, brackish water shrimp fetched maximum value. This is due to the high value realization by export. 1.4.2 fish utilization. You will be surprised to know that world's population consumes more than 70% of the 160 million tons of fish harvested. Almost half of this volume is produced in controlled environments by culture practices, FAO, October 2008. The remaining 30% are used for non-food products production. Fish meal is the major non-food fish product produced globally and marketed today. Fish consumption did not show much increase since the marginal increase in production was offset by the increase in population. In the decade 1992 to 2002, the total increase in availability of food fish was only 27 million tons. Asian countries dominate in fishing operations, having 85% of the total fishing vessels. 10 species contribute to 30% of the world fish landings, and 7 of them show declining landings due to overexploitation. They are anchovies, Chilean jack mackerel, Alaska pollock, Japanese anchovy, blue whiting, capelin and Atlantic herring. 1.5 Indian fish production. Indian fisheries had a humble beginning. Now, it has assumed the status of a full-fledged industry. Now, you will get an idea regarding the present status of this sector as well as on the phenomenal growth of this sector through the following descriptions. 1.5.1 Marine. Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka consume more of marine fishes. The potential yield in the Indian EEZ has recently been estimated to be 3.9 million tons, consisting of 2.02 million tons of demersal, 1.67 million tons of pelagic and 0.24 million tons of oceanic resources. In the inland sector, the resources potential has been estimated at 4.5 million tons, which take into account the production from both capture and culture fisheries. The marine fisheries sector in India witnessed a phenomenal growth during the last 5 decades, both quantitatively and qualitatively. The subsistence fisheries during the early 50s produced about 0.5 million tons annually. Currently, the production is around 2.7 million tons. This increase is the result of improvements in the harvesting methods, increase in the fishing effort and extension of fishing into relatively deeper regions. The increased effort over time and space is due to increasing demand for marine food fish. 1.5.2 Freshwater. The production from inland source is around 3 million tons and almost 100% of the fish are consumed fresh. Carps are consumed in West Bengal, Orissa, Uppan, Punjab. In the inland sector, reservoir fisheries offer a major opportunity to enhance fish production in the country. Fresh fish is marketed as such. Filleting, gutting and packing are not practiced till today as a commercial activity. Inland marketing of fish in processed form has not become an accepted commodity due to various reasons. There is scope for promoting this type of marketing as it has many advantages. 1.6 Aquaculture. Aquaculture is not a new fish farming technique. Aquaculture contributes to over 40 million tons, excluding aquatic plants, to the world aquatic food production. Aquaculture is emerging as one of the very attractive and lucrative farming systems. In India, the potential area for various types of fish farming practices is 1,119,900 hectares, of which only 12.3% is currently utilized. Shrimp-oriented aquaculture industry in India recorded phenomenal growth during the last 3 decades. In spite of its high risks and uncertainties, potential areas that are still unexploited offer tremendous scope for many culture activities and which require comparatively less inputs. There is an urgent need to bring the entire area suitable for mariculture into effective use, not only for culture of shrimps but also crabs, lobsters, bivalves and finfishers, depending on site suitability and economic feasibility. A huge potential waits from the aquaculture sector. India ranks second in production. Table 1.1. Table 1.1, World Aquaculture Production, 2006, FAO. Country production, million tons. China 34.43. India 3.12. Vietnam 1.66. Thailand 1.36. Indonesia 1.29. 1.7 Marine fishery resources. You should understand that the marine fishery resources are broadly divided into 3. 1. Pelagic resources, 2. Demersal resources, 3. Deep sea resources. The pelagic fishery comprises fishes that are caught from the upper regions of the sea. These comprise fishes such as sardines, mackerels, anchovies, Bombay duck, etc. The second group, demersal, includes elasmobranchs, catfishes, perchers, shrimps, crabs and cephalopods. As already stated, the fishing effort up to 100 meters is near optimal in most of the regions. Additional yields could be expected through diversification of the effort to tap the ground fish of the continental shelf edge. These include deep-sea lobsters and shrimp and other oceanic resources, such as tunas, shark, etc. India is yet to make a mark in deep-sea exploitation. The status of exploitable fisheries resources of Indian EEZ is presented in Table 1.2. Table 1. 2. State of exploitable fisheries resources in EEZ, in 000 tons. Resource potential yield harvestable stock. Yellowfin tuna 115.057.50. Big eye tuna 12.56.25. Skipjack 85.242.60. Billfishers 5.12.55. Sharks 26.213.10. Coastal pelagics 6.83.40. Oceanic squids 19.99.90. Deep sea lobsters 2.31.10. Total 273.0136.40. Table 1.3 below shows the quantity of fish produced in India, both marine and inland, during the last 5 decades. Table 1.3 Indian fish production by source. Year fish production, million tons. Marine inland total 1950.510.530.220.75. 1960.610.880.281.16. 1970.71.1.090.671.76. 1980.81.1.550.892.44. 1990.91.2.30.1.543.84. 2001 2.812.855.66. 2003-04 2.943.466.40. 2004-05 2.783.536.31. 2005-06 2.823.756.57. 2006-07 2.993.886.87. 2007-08 2.904.207.30. Source: Anon, 2007. 1.7.1 Important commercial marine fishes and prawns of India. The different varieties of fishes and shellfish, Fig. 1.5, described below are in the order of the commercial importance. A. Prawns. The prawns have become very important as a foreign exchange earner. In production, the west coast is more productive than the east coast. Prawns are available in 3 regions. I. Inland, consisting of backwater, lakes and low-lying paddy fields. In these areas the important species available are Macrobrachium rosenbergi, giant river prawn, Penaeus indicus, Indian white prawn, and Metaphonius dobsoni, flowertail prawn. Inshore, this is the most important prawn fishery ground. Species available are P. indicus, P. monodon, giant tiger prawn, Metaphonius, Aphinus, jinga prawn, M. monoceros, speckled prawn, M. dobsoni, and Parapaniopsis stylifera, kiddie prawn. Offshore region, in recent times very good stocks of deep sea prawns have been identified. They are Peniopsis spp, Parapendulus spp, Heterocarpus spp, Metapeniopsis spp, etc. B. Pelagic fishes. The sardines occupy a prominent position among the pelagic fishes caught along our coasts. The major species are Sardinella, Lormiceps, oil sardine, S. fimbrita, S. albella and S. brachysoma, lesser sardines. Much of the catches are preserved in the traditional methods. Mackerel, Rastelliger canagurta, is another important pelagic fish which is second to sardines in terms of quantities caught. The fishery is seasonal. Anchovies, whitebaits, are small pelagic fishes. Nearly 10 species are found to occur in our seas. They are popular fishes and bulk of them are sun-dried and preserved. Seer fishes, Scumramoris spp, are one of the important fishes of high commercial value. Of the 4 species available, the most important is the king seer fish. Pomfrets are very important commercially and comprise the white pomfrets. as well as the black pomfrets. Good landings are observed along Gujarat and Maharashtra coasts. Kanjids are a group, almost fourth in importance. Nearly 35 species are available in Indian waters. These are in recent times gaining in importance. For value addition, ribbon fishes are fishes which look like ribbons. These fishes have gained high importance in recent times and are exported in frozen condition. Some are used fresh and some dried also. Bombay duck forms an important catch along Maharashtra and Gujarat coasts. The fishery is comprised of a single species, mainly Harpodon Neharius. The catches are used fresh. Tuna, these are fast-swimming pelagic fishes. The common species in Indian waters are Katsuwonus pelamis, Euthinus affinis and Oxus. Thazard, the major fishing ground is around Lakshadweep and Minicoy Islands. Pole and line fishing is mainly employed. The tunas are canned and exported. Demersal fishes include elasmobranchs, catfishes, perches, shrimps, crabs, and cephalopods. Elasmobranch consist of cartilaginous fishes such as sharks, rays and skates. Sharks are valued for the shark liver oil as well as shark fin rays. Other demersal fishes caught along our coasts are cyanids, catfishes, silver bellies, perches, lizard fishes, threadfin breams, flatfishes etc. Cephalopods, cuttlefish, squids and octopus are also very important mollusks and are exported to other countries fetching high market prices. Fig. 1.5 Major marine fishes and shellfishes of India. Look at the screen. Recognizing the necessity for ensuring sustainable yields from the exploited resources, certain measures such as fishing bans have been adopted to reduce the fishing pressure. Along the west coast, ban on trawling exists varying in different states especially during monsoon, whereas in the east coast this is done during summer. Proper management measures are needed to regulate excessive fishing. Pressures to curtail the use of close meshed netting and reduce the fleet size of boats. To sustain the capture fishery resources, we have to reduce the fishing pressure in the coastal waters up to 100 meters and try to develop technology to fish the deep sea and oceanic resources. 1.8 Fishing harbors and landing centers in India. You will be really happy to note that our country has got 6 major fishing harbors with all modern facilities. 50 minor fishing harbors, Fig. 1.6, and over 1400 landing centers spread over both east and west coasts of India. Country. Crafts operated by traditional fishermen and small mechanized boats are landing in these landing centers. Government of India has facilitated modernization of these centers based on the number of crafts landing there. At the end of the 10th five-year plan, 2002 to 2007, 184 landing centers were modernized by providing infrastructures like potable water, electricity, ice plants, roads, berthing facilities for boats etc. Details are given below in Table 1.4. Table 1.4 Fishing harbors and boat landing centers in India. Look at the screen. 1.9 Trade and export of fishery products. The beginning and progress of the Indian export industry is really interesting. You will be surprised to see the phenomenal growth which is explained in the following section. A. Seafood industry. There are historical evidences to indicate that India had trade relations with the Assyrians, Babylonians, Phoenicians and Polynesians even before the birth of Christ, and with the Egyptians, Chinese, Spanish, Dutch, French and British after the dawn of the Christian era. However, the basic commodity traded was spices. This trade encouraged the development of a flourishing boat-building industry in the west coast of India. Marine fishing in distant waters became economical due to this boat-building industry, which started making boats suitable for fishing. Deep-sea fishing needed development of nets and other gadgets for fishing different species of fish. Fishing thus became a commercial success. There was no Kerala state until 1957. Most of the fish curing in this region was done in the Malabar coast, which was under the Madras Presidency under the British time and later under Madras state, now Tamil Nadu. In the earlier half of the 20th century, much of the export was salt dried fish. The main export was to Burma and Sri Lanka, formerly Ceylon, both under the British rule. Fish drying was a flourishing trade in the Malabar coast, and there are recorded evidences to indicate that salt dried fish was regularly shipped to army from Calicut during the Second World War. After independence, Ceylon stopped import of fish from India and Burma practically stopped it. Other Asian countries like Singapore and Malaysia also reduced import of fish due to various reasons, and dried fish production in India witnessed a setback, but this led to development of modern fish processing technologies in India. A new chapter in the history of Indian seafood processing industry began in 1953, when late R. Madhavan Nair exported half-ton of frozen shrimp from Kochi to USA. With the entry of frozen shrimp and acceptance of this product by US consumers, India virtually added a new chapter in export trade. In 1953, our total export of frozen shrimp was 13.26 tons valued 57,000 rupees. From this humble beginning, India has emerged as one of the leading nations in Asia. India's export earnings today, in 2008, are just over 1.85 billion United States dollars. Indian entrepreneurs started fish canning and several fish canning plants came up in different parts of India. The major item canned was shrimp. Canned shrimp enjoyed a good market until the end of 1960s. Then there was a setback. One reason for this setback was that cans suitable for fish canning were not available. In India, the tin plates, iron plates coated with tin or organic lacquers, were imported to India and there was a heavy custom duty imposed on it. So, Indian canned fish became non-competitive to the products from their other competitors, like Thailand and Japan having their own can-making industry and better duty structure. By 1980, Indian shrimp canning industry came to a virtual standstill. And it still continues. However, the advent of freezing and transport facility by ship for frozen fish saved the fish processing industry in India. Frozen fish and shrimp also became the two most accepted commodities to the consumers of the developed nations. Marine fishing became a commercial venture much later. Earlier, it was restricted to fishing in coastal shallow waters by simple techniques like hooks and other devices which were locally made. Fishing was restricted to low-income coastal people. Only they relished fish. When commercial fishing with boats started, surplus fish became a problem. Soon processing started. The first processing technology adopted by man was sun drying. Later, salting and drying became popular in view of the long shelf life and acceptability. Fishing is highly seasonal and results in glut. Disposal of surplus catch from landing centers was a difficult proposition. However, this necessitated transport to distant places and soon fish became an accepted food. Today, fish has become a delicacy and much sought after animal protein. Fishing and fish processing generate employment and also spins valuable foreign exchange to many developing nations in Asia. Export of fish and fishery products have become a high-income trade as this commodity is sold to developed nations like the USA, Europe and Japan, and the currency earned is hard. Fish processing today is a highly technical industry, as the processed fish and fishery products are consumed by the people of developed nations. Quality standards of these products should always be of the highest order. This has necessitated the setting of factories meeting high investments and maintaining top-level hygiene and sanitation. Today, more than 170 fishery products are traded globally. B. Export performance. India's fish export has emerged as the largest group in agricultural exports. From a humble beginning of exports, 10 million United States dollars in 1960-61, it recorded an all-time growth of US $1.908 billion in 2008-09, 1 billion equals 100 crores. The Indian seafood industry today is a 100% export-oriented industry. The industry is totally in private sector. The seafood processing industry is a highly modernized sector in India. There are large numbers of plants now approved by European Union. They have all implemented HACCP, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, in these plants. Table 1.5. There are more than 170 fish-based products traded globally today. Indian exports cover over 60 products. Table 1.5. State-wise EU-approved plants. Look at the screen. Table 1.6. Industrial infrastructures in fisheries sector in India. The new programs in next plan may be directed towards creation of new harbors, modernization of existing harbors, cold chain facilities and factory vessels to develop deep-sea fisheries. The share of Indian seafoods in the world market has shown an increasing trend over the years since its inception in the 1950s. During the last 5-year period, 2000 to 05, this increase is 21%, MPEDA, 2005. India's share today in the global market is 2.45%. In the last decade, our seafood trade has doubled, both in value and quantity. During the year 2004-05, India exported 4.6 lakhs tons of marine products, valued at US $1.478 billion. In 2006-07, this figure has become US $1.85 billion. In 2007-08, India exported 541,701 MT marine products valued $1.899 billion. During 2008-09, Indian export of marine products touched 8,607.94 crore rupees in value, 602,835 MT in volume valued $1.908 billion. Frozen shrimp topped the list with an export earning of 54% of the total trade. MPEDA, 2008. In recent years, finfish started to emerge as the second largest commodity with a figure of 11% of the total earnings. This trend is likely to continue in the coming years. The rest of the earning comes from more than 50 minor commodities. Today, a large number of seafood processing factories have implemented HACCP in their process line according to standards of European Union. Consequently, EU has emerged as the top market for Indian seafoods, the second being Japan. USA has dropped down to third position. However, taking shrimp as a major commodity, USA is still the top importer from India. Cephalopods, squid and cuttlefish are two important commodities earning good market price. But demands are basically from EU and Southeast Asian countries. Processed ribbon fish and surimi also became important export items, but market is very selective. India has to develop export strategies for marketing freshwater fish and value-added fishery products to realize better export earnings in the coming years. There is also good market for ornamental fish and live fish, but we are yet to tap this area. This appears a promising venture in the coming years. The trend of our marine products export is given in Table 1.7. C. Major markets. During 2007-08, European Union has emerged as the largest market for Indian marine products. Compared to previous year, exports to EU have increased to 25.52% from 23.37% in quantity to 27.37% from 24.15% in rupee value. USA became the second largest market in terms of value. The decline was mainly due to the anti-dumping duty imposed by the US government on import of frozen shrimp from India. Export of frozen shrimp to USA has declined by 15.02% in quantity, 9.81% in rupee value and 7.93% in US dollar terms. Export to Japan has started showing a positive growth both in terms of quantity and value. Japan became the third largest importer of marine products from India. Export to China showed a marginal increase both in terms of quantity and value. Export to Middle East countries, Southeast Asia, Canada, Australia, Dominican Republic, New Zealand, Turkey, Mexico, Maldives Island, Croatia, Norway, Bulgaria etc. also showed a positive growth, whereas export to Switzerland, Poland, Lithuania, Guinea, Libya, Egypt, Bangladesh etc. showed a declining trend. I. Export trend. The export trend of marine products during the previous 5 years is given below. Table 1.7. Table 1.7. Export trends of marine products. Look at the screen. During 2006-07, a total of 475 items were exported to as many as 90 countries. 2. Item-wise export. In terms of export earnings, frozen shrimp continued to be the largest export item, 54% in value, followed by fresh fish, 17%, cuttlefish, 10%, squid, 7%, dried items, 2%, etc. 1.10 Summary. Fisheries is an important component of our country's economy. It also provides employment to coastal people. Marine capture fishery has come to a plateau and any further productivity in this sector has to be contributed by sea farming techniques like ranching and cage culture in open seas. Aquaculture has shown substantial and sustainable productivity. Marine products export has become a major source of earning valuable foreign exchange to the country. In India, fisheries sector is well protected by legislations enacted by state and central governments as and when needed. Thank you.